Continue for 1.5 miles.
Remains closed in both directions. That's near to Norwood Green Road for investigation work following an accident last night. And in Surrey on the M3 towards London, 2 lanes are closed between junction 4 for Camberley and 3 for Lightwater for some emergency repairs.
LBC coming up on Nick Ferrari at
In 300 yards, keep right to continue towards Tons Lane, A355.
Was a trial event which 128 people competed before a crowd of 6,000 spectators. See who could clip the fur off the most poodles in a 2-hour period. You'd think they'd shear sheep, not clip poodles. So anyway, another trial event from 19...
Keep right.
1900 was a bonkers Olympics, wasn't it? Goodness me. All they need is David Copperfield or someone. Another trial event from 1900 Paris. It's not clear what exactly was involved in the firefighting event. Like, did they light a random Parisian neighborhood on fire and send everyone over there to see who could put out all the designated houses the quickest? In the volunteer competition, the winner was a team from Portugal. In the professional division, the winner was a group of firefighters from Kansas City. And even though firefighting never became an official Olympic sport, it's got to feel like an Olympic gold medal in firefighting would feel.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto the M4 slip road to London, Heathrow Airport.
Well, poodle clipping, firefighting, shooting real pigeons and delivery van driving was an Olympic sport in 1900. This was another trial event and tied in with a 1900 World's Fair. Oh, I see, that was going on concurrently. Is that where they built the Eiffel Tower? Was that 19? I can't remember. The Paris Olympics featured a ton of different motor races, including delivery van driving. French athletes got all 3 medals, although their names aren't on record. Anyway, there's some strange things. A couple of the facts about the Olympics. Okay, the gold medals are mostly made of silver. That's true. At least one of the Olympic rings colours appears in every single national flag. Think about it. And you had one more line for me. Is this about 1900 as well? I dread to think.
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4.
Oh no, not hot air ballooning. Really? Did they actually do any events at all that we would recognise now? Did they run? Ever? One more from the 1900 Olympics for good measure. During the Paris Olympics, they held several hot air ballooning events, including distance, duration, elevation, and targeted stopping. French competitors won every single event. Oh, come on. This is just a homing Olympics, isn't it? In homers. Just pick events that they're good at, like pool. That's what we're going to play, because no one else plays it. What would we have? Shove-a-leg, dominoes, darts, probably. Yeah. Why need to go strange when you can have one at home as well? Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, brilliant. Hello again. I've texted my wife at Latitude to call in if she's awake. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Some people just don't want to get to funeral. Butterflies. No, we're not going to go down that road. I'm sorry, that's a rabbit hole we are not going down. Ian, hi Ian, Festival. Just want to say I really enjoy this thing. I've got loads of work done, but I just wanted to say, on the subject of fires, we were talking about the fact that the smoke from the fires on one side of the continent, North America, is actually filtering to the other coast. It's travelling right across the whole continent. Nothing like the situation you just described, but it was just a little note of warning. I had a mirror on a dressing table. The back of the mirror was magnified. It was in February, the sun was low, and it caused a fire. Really? The fire brigade said it's a common cause of fire, a mirror in the sunlight. Just thought I'd share that also, but I think we need another health warning, don't we, from the government about that? You know, it was the one I heard the other day. Don't go swimming in rivers and the sea. What? During the hot weather? Why not? Because of sewage. Everywhere? I had to shut, also before I go, I had to shut all the internal doors, which is the only reason we didn't lose the house. It's me. Does anyone else get this? The older you get, the more sort of twitchy you get about, you shut your front door and literally you go 5 yards, you go, oh, is that on, is that on? And it becomes a bit like a kind of a twitch, a tick you have. You just, have I left the lights on? Well, you know you have them, but you have to go and check. And locking the car door. What? I know I've locked it. Why am I doing it? I think it's my short-term memory is so bad now. I can tell you, who won, like I say, all the FA Cup finals from the 1970s, who scored, who was the referee, where they were from. But I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday. I don't think. I had salmon. That's right. 0345 6060. The only reason I know that is because I have it every day. 0345 6060 973. Ian, CPAC Takraw should be in the Olympics. I was thinking, who do they represent? It's the name of a sport, apparently. It's volleyball, but you're only allowed to use your feet and your head. Who knew? CPAC takraw. I think kabaddi should be allowed. Do you know kabaddi? Channel 4 used to do it. It's a sport from India. And it's like 3 or 4 people, a bit like British Bulldog. You get 3 or 4 people where they're all holding each other's hand, and they have to kind of isolate the opposition. But in order to do so, they've got to say kabaddi, kabaddi, kabaddi out loud all the time. I know you think I'm joking, but you said poodle clipping was an Olympic sport, and you'd be right. So yeah, apparently kabaddi, that's what I would have. There'll be loads of people listening to this now saying, hello kabaddi, why are you making a fuss about it? Very well known. Well, did you know about CPAC takraw? Volleyball using only their feet and head. Google it, it's amazing, says Phil, a proud Scot from Thailand. Yeah, that's brilliant. Shane in Sydney's laughing at that.
In 2 miles, at junction 4B, exit towards M3, M23.
Because they delivered from the boulangerie one morning, hot piping baguettes. That's what they're good at. 034, I'm only joking if you're French. 0345 6060973. Right, we better serious up. Because we're getting near serious breakfast time. So, between 6 and 7, I'm going to be taking your calls about who you think should be added to the list of key workers who don't have to self-isolate if they've been double vaccinated. For the rest of us, plebs, we have to wait until August the 16th. So I've been double vaxxed. Have you been double vaxxed, Paul? One? We had one. You've been double, haven't you? Nico's been double. So, we're getting to the stage now where most adults have had 2 jabs, certainly had 1 jab. But we're told we have to wait till the 16th of August when apparently more people will be jabbed by then. Although the number of people being jabbed every day is getting fewer and fewer. Where's the Daily Telegraph? They're the ones who always have the numbers on their front page. Here we go. They didn't do it yesterday. We told them off. So first dose yesterday, 45,000. And again, that's very, very small compared to the number of people who have been given first jabs about 2 months ago. Second dose, better, 183. So 183 and 45 is, let's say, 220,000. That's about what it is every day. So the number of doses in total, about 220,000. So in March, late February, it was about 800,000. So, and again, I make the point, the reason why it's so low is there are less people available who want to have the jab, but also the fact that the AstraZeneca is not being given to people under the age of 40 because of blood clotting issues with a very small number of people. So
In a 1/4 mile, at junction 4B, exit towards M3, M23.
in the world at the moment after India, which is 45,000, I think. So we're number 2 in the world in terms of new cases, which is quite an eye-opener, isn't it? And the number of deaths, 84. So again, I mean, hopefully stabilising with 2.
Exit at junction 4B, then keep right at the fork.
Who should be exempt from the so-called pingdemic? So at the moment, we're talking about people who've been added to the list. First of all, it was NHS frontline workers. Now they're saying people who work in the food supply industry. Now,
Keep right at the fork.
every job that involves, but presumably that means delivery drivers, people who work in supermarkets. No, they're not included. Oh, that's ridiculous. Right, well, they're key workers, we're not completely at the stage where all supermarkets are unmanned at the moment. So if you are hoping to get a ping exemption, if you're a company in critical industry, you have to apply to the government. Who do you think should not have to self-isolate if they're pinged?
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 6 o'clock, some employees in England's food supply chain will be allowed to go back to work this morning as they can swap self-isolation for daily testing. The government's new policy will apply to workers like depot staff and lorry drivers who are identified as close contacts of COVID cases to try to keep supermarket shelves filled. The CEO of the British Meat Processors Association, Nick Allen, has welcomed the announcement.
It does sound as though they're taking the food supply chain. We need to know the detail a bit more yet, but as we understand, it will be quite
experience has life-changing injuries.
In 2 miles, at junction 3, take the A312 exit to Harrow, Hayes.
Injuries. An investigation into the cause of the collision is underway. A study suggests a pay freeze will mean the salaries of experienced teachers have fallen 8% since 2007. The Institute for Fiscal Studies says above-inflation rises are needed to stop recruitment and retention problems from getting worse. The government says the pause to salary increases means they can get public finances back onto a sustainable path after the pandemic. After a delay of a year, the Tokyo 2020 opening ceremony takes place later. Great Britain has a squad of more than 370 competitors aiming to replicate their medal-winning success of Rio and London at the Olympics. In the city, the FTSE 100 will reopen at 69.68 after closing it down 29 points yesterday. The pound buys $1.37 and €1.16. And the weather, dry and warm, but a slightly cooler day for most. Isolated thundery showers may develop in western areas. Windy across the southwest later. A high of 28 degrees. From Global's newsroom, I'm Simon Conley.
Wi-Fi's down.
This is broadband rage. It happens when your internet drops out and the red mist descends. Why suffer like this? Get the UK's first unbreakable Wi-Fi. Only BT's new hybrid home broadband is backed up by EE's mobile network. One day all broadband will be like this.
4G coverage required. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Verify bt.com/verify hybrid. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Ian Hay.
I'm still hoping to speak to somebody from Latitude before 7 o'clock. I'll just leave it out there, and that's that. If you want to still talk about your memories of the Olympics or your memories of festivals, probably better to stick to text and tweets, because I'm going to take phone calls on the pingdemic, which is happening. Here's another example.
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 3, take the A312 exit to Harrow, Hayes.
999 poll acts by pingdemic. Now, if 999 emergency workers are not critical workers, I don't know who are. So apparently, pingdemic care was last night hitting 999 call centres, delaying ambulances across the country.
Exit at junction 3.
People were allegedly waiting up to 20 minutes to get through to help. Shock figure, 20 minutes waiting to get through to a call
In a
centre.
quarter of a mile, at Cranford Parkway interchange, take the 3rd exit onto the Parkway, A312.
Councils. BP has shut some of its petrol stations. The unions have warned a lack of signalling staff would hit train lines, but most importantly, the sandwich chain Pret a Manger temporarily closed 17 shops. So, look, I'm not being trite about it, but it's ridiculous. If you're waiting 20 minutes to get answered at a call centre for an ambulance, because people are self-isolating, not because they're ill, but because someone they met who met someone else who met someone else through a wall somewhere has tested positive for COVID. So what other industries do you think should be exempt from this? You know, if you've had 2 vaccines, why are we waiting till August the 16th? Why not just do it now? And then all key workers and all people who've had 2 jabs will not have to worry about self-isolating, and maybe more people will therefore have the app. Thousands of workers in England's food production and supply chains now are getting to swap self-isolation for daily COVID testing, it's said. So it'll be the usual thing. So over the weekend there will be an outcry, you watch, for all sorts of industries. Do you remember the key workers thing where we said who should have the jab first? Well, it's people over 80, then it's people 70, then it's people 60. What about the police? What about the teachers? What about, and it's all those people who
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway.
The government scheme doesn't, though, include retailers who've complained about staff shortages because of pings from the NHS app.
Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile.
A man who has the job of defending government policy yesterday was the Environment Secretary, George Eustace.
It doesn't include stores itself, because that would be a big departure from the approach we have now. But certainly this is going to go a very long way to getting the food supply chain working properly.
Okay, so what are food supply chain essential workers? Robert's got in touch. He says bakers of bread and cakes, especially Tesco's finest sourdough, but more importantly, people who work in the breweries. Blah, 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 says Rob in Reading. Yeah, I mean, you know, cases. I mean, it's not just people who save our lives like the NHS. It's also people who help our lives run smoothly when we're not in hospital, when we're elsewhere. You know, plumbers. I'm still waiting for my friend to come around and fix my tap. He is called Bob, and he is a builder. It's true. No, he really is called Bob, and he is a builder. A bit busy this week. I've got this smelly drain under my sink. I don't know, God knows what's down there. I can't dread it. I put what's the thing that unblocks drains? I poured 2 bottles full of it down yesterday. Drain unblocker. No, it's called something else. That big orange bottle, whatever it's called. 2 bottles of that thing straight down. To know that it still stinks. So anyway, so Bob, the builder, if you're listening, mate, I'd love to see you. So
In a quarter of a mile at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit and stay on the Parkway A312.
Workers from 16 key sectors, including health, transport and energy, will not have to isolate after being pinged by the NHS COVID app, as it was revealed that more than 600,000 people, this is a report in The Guardian, in England and Wales were sent self-isolation alerts last week. Will you? I'd like to hear from you. 0345 60 60 973. Ian says, Paul, I'm a bus driver and we are part, thank God. The answer is get masks back, get it back as legally, and make sure...
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway.
Thereafter change.
Continue on A312 for 1.5 miles.
Open Conservative revolt over the so-called pingdemic. They seem to sort of change their policy only when parts of the Tory party start to rebel. Forget the rest of us. It's only when MPs suggest they might lose a vote on something that they actually do something. The rafter changes, after days of frantic talks with industry leaders, came amid open Conservative revolt over the so-called pingdemic, with the former Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt warning that the government was facing a crisis of public trust in the system. As panicked shoppers shared images of empty shelves. This is why we've done it. I mean, look, there are other reasons why the shelves are empty in lots of supermarkets. One of the reasons is it's very, very warm. You know, and the chillers don't work. I learned yesterday that the aircon and the chiller system of computing is actually controlled in some supermarkets from India. Bizarrely. I don't know. The Internet of Things has become a thing. Panicked shoppers shared images of empty shelves and blamed on the shortage of workers. That's one of the reasons. The government also announced last night that a pilot daily testing program will be expanded to up to 500 food and drink supply chain employers, though retail staff in supermarkets will not qualify. And that's just ludicrous, isn't it? Why don't the people who work behind the tills get included in this? Why are they so averse to just say, look, if you've had 2 jabs, they can do it with them, and they can do it. Meanwhile, Downing Street said that companies who wanted to take advantage of the separate exemptions for essential workers would have to apply directly to the relevant Whitehall department. Why create more red tape for yourself? You must be inundated in Whitehall with work at the moment, trying to get these things done. Why suddenly another strand of contacting the government via website online? Anyway, how long does it take? Have you applied? 0345 60 60 973. The policy will only apply to named workers in approved workplaces who are fully vaccinated. So why are we waiting till August the 16th for this to happen? Do it now. Is it really going to make that much difference? How many weeks away are we from the 16th? 3? Is it? Really? The guy, it's always lists in admin. So here's the governor's latest list. It's like a Nick Hornby novel. They just love compiling lists. The guidance lists 16 sectors: energy, civil, nuclear, digital infrastructure, food production and supply, waste, fix my drain, water, what else was it? Water, veterinary medicines, essential chemicals. What chemicals aren't essential? Essential transport, medicines, medical devices, clinical consumable supplies, emergency services, border control, essential defence and local government. So that presumably means the armed forces, does it? central defence. Where's the police and all that? Teachers, well, they've broken up, so they don't count anymore, I suppose. But it adds that in some exceptional cases, there may be critical roles in other...
In 300 yards, turn right onto Roslyn Avenue.
Separate